What is up, Guffers? I am James Ryan with Grown Up Fantasy Football. Today, I'm going to be breaking down the fantasy implications of the Carson Wentz trade. The Eagles traded Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round draft pick and a 2022 conditional second-round draft pick that could turn into a first if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps. Before we get started, remember to like and subscribe and follow us on Twitter for more NFL and fantasy football content. Now let's talk about this trade. Alright, to start off, I'm going to analyze the trade. Who won? So, I think both sides did. I think the Colts got a good price for a team that needs a quarterback desperately, really. With Philip Rivers leaving, this is just the last piece of the puzzle. I mean, they were pretty good last year with Philip Rivers. I think Carson Wentz can make them a contender. They have a great defense, and they got pretty good supporting cast around him. And I think the Eagles win this trade too. I mean, Wentz is clearly not going to be successful with them anymore. I think this is Jalen Hurts' time. They don't need another distraction on the bench behind Jalen Hurts. So I think this is good for both sides. Now, will Carson Wentz be good for fantasy football in 2021? I think Carson Wentz will be good, and here's why. I think he's a proven fantasy relevant quarterback. I think he has a better supporting cast and better wide receivers, and I think a new environment is going to be good for him. So let's talk about how he's a proven fantasy relevant quarterback. The 2017 season was the best season of his career. Very good for fantasy football. He got hurt towards the end, but everyone was thinking this could be an MVP caliber season for him. The Eagles actually went on to win the Super Bowl without Carson Wentz, but he was a big reason they got there in the first place. He had a lights-out season, and he's had a couple of other good seasons with the Eagles. And this past season in particular has not been good. I'm not putting that all on him. I think he is a good quarterback, and if given the chance, I think he can still be that guy. Now, next reason, he has a better supporting cast and better wide receivers. He had no help in Philadelphia at all. I mean, they were playing with practice squad wide receivers at some points. It was ridiculous. I'd be tough for any quarterback to succeed in that sort of situation. With the Colts, though, he's going to have TY Hilton, Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman Jr. as his wide receivers. I mean, his running backs are Hines and Jonathon Taylor. Even his tight ends are pretty stacked. I mean, Mo Alley-Cox, Jack Doyle, Trey Burton, if all these players stay on the squad, that's a great supporting cast. I think that any quarterback can be successful with these guys. I mean, those wide receivers, Paris Campbell, you got the speed guy, Michael Pittman, big wide receiver who kind of broke out on the scene last year with a couple injuries. Philip Rivers like to target him a lot. And, T.Y. Hilton's reliable. He's a good player. So I think this is a much better situation for him. And that kind of leads me into my next point. He's going to be in a better, new, fresh environment. I mean, I think it's clear he was burned down in Philly. The system wasn't working anymore for him. He needed something new. I mean, we've seen this. He was in a rut. Even with Andy Reid on the Eagles all those years ago, they let him go. And he went on the Chiefs to be super successful. New environment. You can even make the comparison with Tom Brady, moving from the Patriots to the Bucs and then win the Super Bowl again this year. Sometimes you just need that reset button, to refresh. So I think new environment's going to be good for him. Those are more reasons I think he's going to be good for fantasy football next year. I could see him definitely be in the top 12 for fantasy football. I would put my money on top 10 right now. I wouldn't draft him super high. I'm not going to do something crazy and draft him over Aaron Rodgers next year or something like that. But definitely, especially if he's going later in drafts, I feel like he's kind of a hot name, so he won't really be one of those late round steals. But if he does, I think he could be that guy who breaks out next year for you and helps you win at the quarterback position. Now, how do I think his play will impact the other players' fantasy value on that team? I think it helps everyone. I think it will become a more productive offense. I don't think it will take away from any of the running from Jonathon Taylor. He was doing very good at the end of last season. I think that will continue. Guys like Paris Campbell and Michael Pittman, I think they're just going to get more targets. I think Wentz will spread it around more than Philip Rivers did. Philip Rivers tends to target a couple of guys. And even Hines, I think he gets a slight boost from this. So I think everyone's fantasy value goes up. I think the Colts as a whole become a much better team. They could be contenders. So in conclusion, I think Wentz will be a good fantasy quarterback next year. He's got better supporting cast. It's a good environment to bounce back in. And, he's done it in the past. I think he can do it again. Now, with that being said, I do think this is his last chance. If he can't pull it off in Indianapolis, I don't think another team gives him another chance to be the starting quarterback. So this is his last chance, but I think he's successful. Thanks for watching. Let me know down in the comments section how you think Carson Wentz will do for fantasy football in 2021. Do you think he'll be a top 10 quarterback? Are you going to take the chance and draft him? Maybe. Let me know in the comments section down below. And as always, remember, grow up, subscribe, and get guffed.